All right, guys, welcome to my first YouTube video based on trading. Welcome to the Scriv Trades YouTube channel. I've been posting stuff on TikTok for a little bit, and I have been trying to tell you guys my strategy because a little bit of backstory. I have been day trading almost 2.5 years now. I started with Forex, I went into options, and I got into futures. Futures, in my opinion, is the best when it comes to actually being consistent. Like, there's no like theta, there's no time decay. You know, there's like an entry and then it goes down and it goes up. You guys get the gist. If you're watching this video, you probably understand what this is already. But yeah, futures is the one that stuck out for me the most, and that's what I've committed everything to, and what's turned me profitable. So I'm gonna go over this trade. This made me $16,500, which I'm just gonna kind of write out. Basically, all that really would be is $1,500 times 11 accounts. That's literally all that this trade was. So the reason why I am able to do that, I use TradeSyncer. You guys can see here, I have all these different accounts. I use Alpha Futures, which is my favorite. These are evals as well. I guess you can't even tell. I have 3 qualified, which you can see them here. And then I have 5 Tradeify accounts, 5 Lucid accounts. I always tell people, if you want the fast track to your first payout, Alpha Futures 0 accounts is the best one. That's literally the only ones I use. I currently have advanced evals that I'm like working up to 12K in profit, which I mean, they're actually pretty much already there. I'm just not going to pass them entirely because I'm going to wait till these are rinsed. Basically, I'm going to get a few payouts on these, and then I'm going to activate those because these do have better rules in my opinion. But as far as getting your first payout, 0 accounts are perfect because they have the best rules that allow to guide you to getting your first payout. Okay, we're going to go over this trade that made me $1,500. The reason why it's 11 accounts, and on TradeSyncer, you might have just saw it was 13 that I trade. 5 Lucid, 5 Tradeify, 3 Alpha Futures. 2 of my Alpha Futures accounts had payouts. One of the Alpha Futures accounts, I'm waiting to get a payout because I want to get a more of like a I want to get a max payout on that account is kind of the goal. The other ones were due because they were up $2,500, so I withdrew $1,250 from each one. But whenever you do a payout, they take a good minute to actually get organized and processed. So those 2 accounts, they got the payouts, but because I had 6 p.m. it allowed me to do it. I was trading this, well, this is at nighttime, but I took the request at like 8 p.m. maybe, and then the accounts didn't come back active until probably like 12 p.m. the next day. So I only traded 11 instead of 13. Now, let's go over this trade. A little bit of backstory. My strategy is very simple, and I think that's why a lot of people, don't really, they may think it's too simple. They may think that doesn't make sense, that it's not realistic. So I'm going to go over everything. I use a mix of several different confluences. I think that's one of the curses of trading for so long and like having so many different strategies you've looked into and you've seen before, is you see everything. You feel like, we'll actually pull up ES as well because it does give a good bit of help here. We'll do ES. Also, a lot of these videos are going to be very like just kind of cutthroat, me just kind of explaining what's in front of me. And not much editing, if I'm being honest with you. I think you guys care more about the information than all the pretty colors and whatnot. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start off that we already have an SMT. This is, yep. I would say this is one of the bigger confluences when it comes to like looking for a flip or reversal. We already have an SMT on these lows. This is ES, this is NASDAQ. Now, this is really weird to even admit. I don't trade New York session at all. And if I do really not that great because it's very fast. But then again, I don't really know the last time I really traded New York session. So yeah, I only trade really for the past week and a half. It's been my most profitable times, like high profits. Maybe it's because I'm using so many accounts, but between, I want to say midnight and probably 3 or 4 a.m. I know that sounds insane. My sleep schedule is pretty ass, but I think price moves very predictably / with high volume, and it allows me to get the best trades. So again, let's go over this. So over here on this 2 minute, that's all I use. I never look at the 1 minute, 2 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute, 1 hour, 4 hour. That's really all I use. I use the 1 hour and the 4 hour to look for fair value gaps. I use a 5 minute and 15 minute to look for a 50% retrace, which we're about to get into. And I use a 2 minute to get my exact entries. But going on over here, we get one of these crazy wicks at midnight, okay? And one thing, a part of, my trading discretion that isn't entirely a part of my strategies, but more acts as like a confluence here, is I marked out this whole wick, this rejection wick, right? On that wick, I have this Fibonacci drawn out. I have the 0.5, I have the 0.705, and I have the 1, 0. Those are the only levels that I use of the Fibonacci, besides standard deviation, which I did not use for this trade. Again, several strategies all come together at once. The one that is the most consistent, and I use, I want to say probably 90% of the time, is what I'm about to explain here right now. I'm just using these as a trading discretion as to why I think it's going to go up instead of go down. SMT, I like how we reacted off this OTE level, this rejection wick. Cool. Now, I personally was not on my computer. Believe it or not, I was not on my computer at 1 a.m. I somehow got on my computer around like 1:15. So this entry would have been beautiful because, we all know the whole fun times of inverse for value gap. Would I have taken that trade? Probably not. Would I have taken this instead? Let me show you what I use this called a GAN box. Would I have taken this instead? Yes. So this is the entry that I missed. Very unfortunate. High to low, 50% retest, and I would normally enter here. The stop right here. Whenever we're low time frame like this, I'm completely okay with risking 2 minis, risking $280 to aim for, let's say for this one, probably going to here, 96 ticks, right? Now, I missed that trade. Unfortunate, sucks. Okay, that's a pretty quick trade. The one that I took clearly went way higher. We'll get to that in a second. But yeah, that would have been my entry for that. I missed it. Unfortunate. Because I missed it, we take this low of this 50%. I'm really hoping you guys can see this well. Let's move it over a little bit more. Because I missed it, I'm now taking this low here, and I'm putting it at this low right there. Okay, now what do? I follow the lines. Okay, so I follow where these top wicks are going. Move this over. Follow where these top wicks are going. So we have this one here that originally was, our high, but now we're going up to this high. We never get this 50% tap back into, and so therefore there's no entry for me. We keep following. It doesn't come back down. It doesn't come back down. We have a new high, and guess what? We come down and we tap this. Now, was my entry right here? No, my entry was quite literally here. It's very. I need to start recording my trades live, but 4 ticks and drawdowns what I ended up getting. Do you always get a good entry like that? No, it's not very often. I also do like this bullish engulfing here. I mean, that, but the basics of it is the 50% retest. So we hit the 50% level. My stops always, unless it's something like this and there's a low where if it breaks that low, it's a pivotal stop. One of the biggest pieces of advice I always tell people is your stop losses and your take profits should be pivotal levels, meaning you can convince yourself that it's going to reverse at that level. So for me, let's say I entered longs here off this, my stop would be at this low here because if it breaks that low, we are dumping. We are going to go down. We're not going to go up, in my opinion, and that's a pivotal stop. My mom's calling me. Hey, Mom, can I call you back? All right, bye. Sweet, Mom. So now we have, this is my original entry of this 50%. Now, once I get a confirmed, oh, that sucks. Everyone does that. Once I get like a really good confirmation, which you'll see here. Once I get confirmation that we're going to break above, so when I would say probably around whenever this 1 minute candle starts coming up, that's whenever I'll add another contract. Add another contract in, we average in, now we're in the middle here. So that's where that entry came from. Just going back to the 5 minute now. Okay. So now I'm in for 2 minis here. What am I targeting? Well, again, I think everyone at once in their life has looked up, trend lines or learned trend lines. They think, oh, I just figured out the whole trade of trading that there's a trend line, and once it breaks, we're going to go up. Well, I drew it out because I do like peace of mind. I have a little bit of ADHD. I enjoy drawing on the charts whenever I'm bored. Oh, wait, I didn't mention this. The original entry was that 50% with a 40 tick stop. I always tell people to do a 40 tick stop unless it's a small range like this one was, and then I do that low of a pivotal stop. But if there's not really like a low for it to be hit, like theoretically, these don't have bottom wicks on the 5 minute. If it were to hit those, it would have been protected because I have a 40 tick stop. Excuse me. So I'm going to go and mark that out. We ended up going 17 ticks and drawdown, let's say, of what my entry technically was. This is not my original. My original entry would have been, a 1 to 6.7. So I'm not funny. Okay. Ended up being a 1 to 16 risk reward. Beautiful. Now, why did I aim for these highs? Couple of reasons. One, actually, I think it's pretty easy to understand this. We have relative equal highs. We ended up actually getting equal highs here, which we broke. That's funny. Relative equal highs. This is why I wanted to aim for these highs. Relative equal highs. I want to see these highs get broken. I was still, really, I was going to like hawk this area and kind of see how it reacts to this like fair value gap here. Clearly, we just broke right through it. We had to close above it. I am taking off of that high. Now, again, whenever I am trading with several accounts, and I can put a picture actually right below me. I'll edit that in. Whenever I'm trading with several different accounts, the smartest way to do it, and this is what's made me profitable, is not the best way to word it is being okay with just enough, which I think is such a shitty mindset. I think that's like one of the worst things you can really have. Like, oh, it's good enough. That shit sucks. But with trading, that's why you have so many accounts, right? Because theoretically, if I was in for two micros, right, and I make $268, or even just like, let's say even 2 contracts, and I make 200. Oh wait, I forgot to tell you where I took a partial. Oh, okay, whatever. Where I took a partial. The original entry, God, this is my first time doing this, guys, so you got to bear with me. My original strategy says this, okay? My original strategy says a 50%. This is how this whole strategy came to life. Was literally, this would be like my entry, and this would be my take profit, and that would be a 1-to-1, and then you would aim for the 1.6, which still works, but whenever it's a small level like this. Okay, so this right here. This would have been, and that'd be my take profit. That would have been my original strategy. And that strategy came from the idea of I want to make a consistently good winning trade. The win rate on this is pretty good. And it gets you to a good like 1-to-1/1-to-2, really like a 1.4 maybe, whatever that math would be. And that's what my original take profit would be. But on this level, because I usually will take half off at the high, because that's the 1-to-1, that also was not lined up, but very close to lining up with this, what would be an inverse fair value gap BPR range. So I ended up taking 1 contract off on all my accounts because, like I said, whenever you're trading several accounts, you want to be okay with taking trades and accepting profits that are guarantees. So I locked in, let's just say, I don't even know what that would have been, 48 ticks times 5, so $250. Honestly, a winning day on all these prop firms is $250. Once I take that stop loss, or once I take that partial, my stop loss goes to break even, or just about right here. I always tell people, instead of putting yours like far in profit, I would put it like right where this entry is, because my strategy says this should not be broken. So the second we have a rejection, let's say the second this candle comes up like this, moves over. Second this candle comes up like this, I have my stop down here because I don't want to see it break through that. And then once we took that partial there, I moved it a little bit into break even, a little bit into profit, which was only what, like nothing. We ended up being, our entry was 17 ticks, so we ended up being just about right there. And then we start moving up more. Now we break out of this line. That gives me a little bit more confirmation, a little bit more confidence. I wouldn't even say that's part of my strategy. It's just me doodling at fucking 1:45 a.m. and it gave me more confidence. So I hold my trade, and I end up holding it until we hit this 265, or really, I think it was just this high actually. So I think it was a little higher. So 269. I think it ended up closing for 13 something. Again, I'm going to put it right down here below me this whole time. So I'm trying to think of what else I can say that would really make this make sense. It's literally, my entire trade is, I want a bias. I found a short-term bias. It doesn't mean the entire day is going to go up. Well, I mean, it did, but doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that that's what I'm looking for. It means that I'm looking for a short-term bias to go up. Short-term bias to go up. I'm looking for a break of a consolidation area. So consolidation area, I would say we break up. Really all this consolidation. We get a big break up, we come back down to the 50% level, and then we break out. Very easy trade. This was a overall 1 to 16 risk reward. If you're going off the stop loss being at the low of the entry, I think this is an excellent trade. And this, again, was across 11 different accounts, which ended up making me $16,500. Again, the way prop firms work is, let's just say I'm on a 0 qualified account. It made me $1,500 on this account. You have to have consistency rules. So, I mean, some accounts are closing earlier than others if they're up too much profit. I trade all of them at the same time. So, like, that only really happens if one of them just gets a worse entry, or one of them gets a much better entry, or even if it adds more onto one account than it's supposed to. That does happen, unfortunately. I think what I'll show you now is I also have, I don't know how much I can show of this, so I'll definitely blur some out. These are my payouts that I have done for today. I'm on my 5th day, which means will it show my, whatever. I ended up making around $200 on this day, today as my 5th day, because you need a total of $150 a day in order to count as a winning day. And then I only needed what does it say? I need a 4220 as the total. So did I need to lose money? Whatever. Basically, I really needed a small amount of profit in order to get this consistency level. Oh, wait, this one's good. So it's the other ones that aren't good. Fuck, I'm wasting time. Sorry, guys. I don't want to waste your time. You mother. Okay. So, like, for this one, we had a consistency rule that wasn't good, so I needed to make another $60, but I need to make $150 for it to count as a winning day. So ended up taking those profits at $150 on this day over here earlier, which is today, and now they're eligible for payouts. That's 5 accounts, $1,500 per account. That's $7,500 in payouts coming tonight. As you can see on my computer, it's like 3:30, 3:40. Ideally around 6 o'clock, they'll be ready to be paid out. And then I also have another set of 5, and then those ideally are coming soon. And then my Alpha Futures accounts are usually every Friday, or usually it goes from Friday to Monday, and it kind of like cycles in like that because 5 winning days. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of all I got actually. I can show another strategy, but I think I'm just going to keep showing in different videos how I made a shit ton of money. I think this is a great example. This is a great first video. I'm going to try and make this more under control and not as crazy as this is. Again, the goal of this video is to just show you how and why I took these trades. So hopefully it's a little bit more transparent to you guys, and a little bit more easy to understand, because I do understand that TikTok is a little bit harder to see things and not swipe, or at least have your attention span there. At least YouTube, you can lock in on this. And I think this account is brand new. It's gonna have 0 subscribers, 0 likes probably. And if you see it, you're meant to see it, blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna hype it up on my TikTok, so maybe y'all see it. I'm not doing this because I really want to make all these videos, just because it's a lot of work and I already have a whole job that I'm doing. But I'm doing it because I genuinely think it is so fun to get messages from you guys whenever you show me a payout. I had like a 17, 18-year-old kid send me a $30K payout or like a screenshot of his Apex payout. And he said, dude, all I used was your strategy. And in fact, whenever you go on my Discord, which I'm going to just show the screenshot of what this kid sent me. He has been consistently sending me trades like this, where it's like 50% retest, aim for the 1.6. High time frame, that's a banger strategy. Low time frame, which is like at night, kind of like what I'm doing here, I'm really just aiming for the obvious levels of liquidity, or I'm aiming for obvious profit targets. So my first obvious one was here, clearly. My second obvious was letting this run up here. I'm trailing the stop to be, once we break above this, my stop's now at this low. And then I don't even think I moved my stop. I think it actually just came all the way up and hit my take profit. So yeah, put anything down below that you think that I can do to improve these videos for you guys. Whether, I think we can all agree if I do a live trade, it's going to be way more beneficial. So if I'm like entering the trade while I'm recording, that would be more beneficial. So I will work on doing that tonight for you guys. Other than that, if you have any other suggestions, I'm just posting this pretty much raw. I'm going to cut it up a little bit and just add the picture in. If you have any other suggestions, please comment down below. I'll be looking into it. I genuinely just want to see other people not go through the 2.5 years of losing a fuck ton of money. I'm going to overemphasize a fuck ton of money, which is incredible because I've literally made back, not all of it at all, but I've made back a ton of it within the last 3 weeks. And that's all that trading is. You just pay your tuition. Once you learn it, you got it. Whatever. Like I said, anything you guys, like I said, I just want you guys to be able to skip that. And my biggest problem was finding the right strategy. I'm pretty disciplined. I can crash out sometimes too. That's one thing I really had to get a hold of. But finding the right strategy, bro, like that's the biggest and hard thing for me. Like I would just, fair value gap. Let's look for an entry. So like, my dumb ass would be like, oh, wait, we're coming up. Fair value gap, long. And then you get shitted, or fair value gap, short, shitted. Like that's how I used to trade. And that sucks. I've had so many strategies. So I'm just trying to show you guys what works for me. I think I can explain it pretty well. I'm not here to really grift you is it grift the word? I'm not here to like just steal your money. I'm not here to sell you a mentorship. I'm kind of just here to hopefully make some dudes or chicks mental health a little bit better when it comes to trading. Because I know this can have a lot of, it can be taxing on all of us. Okay, whatever. Now that I'm done rambling, like, comment, subscribe, comment down below at least that you liked the video or something. And every person that comments, I will choose a winner to get a free funded account from Alpha Futures, because I have the ability to do that, which is awesome. As you guys know on my TikTok, I give away accounts all the time. So comment down below, and I will pick a winner out of those comments to win a 50K zero account. All right, peace, y'all. Love you.